Welcome to MotivationAddict.com with Julie Saillant. This is where you will find inspiring stories on how to motivate yourself and gain momentum towards success, turning fear into confidence, and how to find divine flow, allowing you to crush your goals. Thank you for being here. And now, let's tune in to today's show.
Hey everyone, Julie Saillant from Motivation Addict. I am thrilled today to have our guest as Alexis Ray. She's done everything. She's got a very long bio here, but to be honest with you, she is a consultant, a coach, an author, a creative director, and a transformational speaker. She owns her own marketing company called Promotional Angles. You need to have an angle if you want to have an edge. And she's been working as a marketing and brand ambassador since 2001, helping companies such as Coca-Cola, Lexus, and Lowe's with brand expansion and commemorative event-specific events. She has been doing it all. She's a podcast guest. She's an interview coach. She helps business owners gain credibility, authority, profits, and a bit of fame in the world of podcasting. And she also creates brand-carrying products for speakers, authors, and sales reps looking to generate back-of-the-room sales, have killer leave-behinds, and generate referrals and kick open the door to new clients. But more importantly, is someone who was a former energy vampire and transformed herself and became a ray of light. And Alexis Ray, she was really pissed off for 5 years, depressed for 30, and thought all happy people were faking it. And she's a former hot mess, but now she's a success story. I love chatting with her. We have become friends, and I think you're really going to love what she has to say about transformation. So welcome to the show, Alexis Ray. Thank you for being here. Hey everyone, Julie Saillant from Motivation Addict. I am thrilled to have a beautiful, beautiful guest today. And she's someone that I've been talking to for a while, and we connected really well. Her name's Alexis Ray. I'm sure you heard the bio that I put in for her, and she's done so many wonderful things. I'm just going to look over here at my paper because I can't keep them all in my head. She's at a marketing company with Promotional Angles. She has been a speaker, a consultant, a coach, an author, a creative director, a transformational speaker. She does it all. I mean, she is just the most amazing person I've met in quite a while. So welcome to the show, Alexis. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you.
I've got a seatbelt on my chair because I keep jumping up and down. I'm so freaking excited. Thank you so much for having me on Motivation Addicts.
I'm thrilled that you could be here. Everyone, this woman has done so much in her life. I mean, she's lived in 15, how many countries? Was it 15 countries?
15 states and 3 countries.
15 states and 3 countries. And we have a lot to talk about. Because she was a former energy vampire. She transformed herself. She became a ray of light. She changed her name. Let's start with the name, because I think that's very interesting. Okay. And a lot of people like myself, I had a namologist on a couple weeks ago. Yes. Unbelievable stuff. Yes. Tell me how you decided to change your name and then how your life kind of transformed after you changed your name.
Oh, that's an interesting way to ask that question. Thanks, Julie. When I was little, so my birth name is Lori, and the last name is Gist, like the gist of the story, which means the bottom line. You know, like I could totally relate to that, but I hated that nobody could spell it. You know, they're like, give. I was like, G-I-S like in Sam T. It's easy. But even my brownie troop leader said, I'm going to call you Gish because it reminds me of my favorite actress, Lillian Gish. I was like, really? I'm like 7. You're going to give me an identity crisis. Seriously. But my teachers used to return my school papers and cross out what I wrote, which was Lorinda or Cindy. I wanted to be anything else but Lori. And I didn't understand why. I mean, I'm so young, right?
Yeah.
Except that there was a little bit of bad, negative stuff around it. Lori was my mother's name. And my brothers, all 3 younger brothers, called me Sissy. And they still do. Okay. However, when I was in trouble, which is the only time I heard my name, it was Lori Marie. And it was just, full of hatred. And I was like, I don't want to be associated in any way, shape, or form with you, woman. And I knew that very, very young. And she let me know she didn't really care for me being around either. That's another story. Moving forward, I had a talk show, Julie, and I went to interview, because I always did pre-show interviews. This was my second show. And I went to his a beautiful apartment, penthouse in Vancouver. I had major reverence for Dr. Lipoulos and all the work that he did. He helped the Canadian hockey team go from zero to hero. He helped cancer patients heal themselves in this. Then it was weird. He was called a parapsychologist because nobody did visualization. That was weird and woo-woo, right?
You know, yeah.
And I was like, really? That's all you do? And he said, no, there's other things I do, like kinesiology and or muscle testing. And I'll show you what that looks like. And so he did this experiment. So what you do is your body will tell the truth, no matter what you think. If you can't resist a gentle push with 2 fingers on your extended arm, it means that that's a no. And if you can resist it, it means it's a yes. Okay. That means it's a truth, right?
Okay.
So we're going through the standard testing. And one of the first things that they say is, tell me your name. So I stuck my arm out. I said my name. He put 2 fingers on it. My arm felt like a noodle. And I was freaked out. And I said, well, hang on. Let's try that again, Dr. Poulos. It happened again and again and again. And I like pulled back and I was like, what are you, like voodoo or something, man? I'm like a little scared of you right now. But he said, apparently that's not your name. And I said, oh, I beg the difference on my birth certificate. And he said, apparently it's not your name.
Whoa.
Well, when he was a guest on my show, I made sure he called in because I was scared to have him in person again. And fast forward, it was probably a year later, and it was August. My birthday had passed in June, late June. Once again, I was sad. I mean, seriously, like crying because I hadn't heard from my parents. You know, it was bumming me out. And I had to go babysit. So I put the toddler to bed. I'm in the backyard. It's a big backyard with a fire pit. And I'm still boo-hooing about the disappointment that here I am at 30, 31, and I still can't get, can't get no love, yo.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I remembered this landmark case of a brother and sister awarded a divorce from their abusive parents. This had never happened. It was amazing.
I remember that.
Do you?
Yes, I do. Yes.
That was remarkable.
Yes.
Yep. And I thought, well, maybe that's what I'll do. And so I wrote out this divorce decree. I'm making this shit up. I'm crying. I'm in the fire pit. Thank God the child was asleep, right? Back, like, and then I wrote it out and I said, well, what do people do to feel better? And I threw it in the fire pit because they burn shit, right? So, and I'm watching the edges curl up and I'm like, I don't feel a lot better yet. What's going wrong here? Mm-hmm. And then I remembered this story I read about how the Aborigine name themselves according to the gift they give the tribe. So if you thought you were a seamstress or you're really good at it, you could go from being called seamstress to great seamstress, and later maybe you want to be a hunter, and that's what you bring to the tribe. And like that really stuck with me. You are your name. At least that's what they think. This is before I went to Australia, by the way. It was never on my bucket list. But anyway, that's another story. So that story stuck in my head, and I thought, well, with all the metaphysical and spiritual and personal development stuff I've been reading, there is an alignment of the word light, meaning that it broadcasts information. Now, I was still a hot mess. I really was, but I knew somehow, some way, someday, I was going to be able to turn it all around and share that information. And so it was easy to pick the last name. And I changed my last name on paper right there at the fire pit. I called the last name Ray, R-A-Y. And I was like, nobody's going to mess up that spelling. That's going to be.
Yes.
People still want to put an E on it. And I'm like, don't make it hard. Please just don't make it hard. So then I thought, well, heck, while I'm at it, if I'd ever had a daughter, I was going to name her Alexis. And so I went in, found the dictionary. It comes from Alexander the Great, meaning helper of mankind. And I was like, boom, that's it. That's me. I know that's me. I don't know how, because I'm a hot mess right now.
Wow.
But I just do it. And so I wrote down Alexis Ray on this piece of paper. And I said, whenever I sign my name, I'm going to do A.Ray. And I'll always think of light, a ray of light.
Yeah.
Now that was so far off base, considering that I was such a downer. I was so depressed for so long. I was a miserable person trying desperately to find happiness again, if I'd ever had it. Well, I did. I saw some photos as a child. There was a time I was happy, and I just wanted to get back to that, So shall I go on with what happened next?
Yes.
Oh my God, this was crazy. So Now this is an era in Seattle. I was hanging out with the spiritual types, and they were, so it was kind of like a trend to call yourself something else for a minute. But I didn't feel like this was a trend, and so I went to court to change my name.
Yep.
I sat in the back, as I always do.
Yes, me too.
Always.
Yes, yes.
And it was this old creaky courthouse with wooden pews, and the floor creaked when you walked up. And at the very end of this long hallway, it was like approaching the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. It was so scary.
Wow.
The podium was way up. It was huge. And there was this big woman, this just looking down on us. And she was calling people up by case numbers. And why do you want to change your name? And everybody had a legit reason. Well, I'm separated, I'm divorced, I'm getting married, whatever it was. No witness protection people that day, but finally I got called. And by then I was nervous as hell. I thought, oh my God, I don't have a good enough reason. It might not get approved. I'd already paid my $60. Shit, I needed this to happen, right?
Yes.
So I creep up to this podium, and I look up at her, and she practically booms down, and why do you want to change your name? It's the Wizard of Oz, I swear. I look up at her, and I go very meekly and quietly, I like it better. And she goes, bang, approved. I said, you like it too? She goes, yeah, it's a cool name. Now just go down the hallway. Just go down the hall and tell Social Security, here's your piece of paper. Next. And I was like, damn, that was easy.
Awesome.
So what happened? Go ahead.
No, awesome. That's just crazy. So that means that the universe recognized it too, obviously.
Yeah, clearly it wasn't Lorinda, but it was to be something else entirely. And what was crazy though is that I didn't feel like I was a ray of light. In fact, I used to be mad at people that were happy. I was like, you're faking it, but I knew, left brain me, very analytical as well as emotional. I said, information. I'm definitely an information bringer and seeker.
Me too.
So that was, right?
Yes, always. Yes.
So that's easy to embrace. And I was like, well, even if I'm an emotional wreck, I know what I know, and I can share that. I mean, I've come up with stuff that helps now. But anyway, the hard part, not that was hard. The hard part was reaching out my hand to other people and introducing myself as someone else. And it's still the same person, different name. And I caught some flack for it. There were people that were being silly, and of course I'd be mad because they were happy when they were saying, what's it going to be next week? Fairy dust tree hugger? And I was like, actually, no, I think this one's going to stick. I changed it legally. I had a best friend at the time, and she still to this day, I know her, won't call me my new name. She just won't. I had people tell me it was a stripper name. It's I did later use it, but in a club, but that's another story too. But I should have brought it over. I have a mug, and it was given to me the last time I saw my mom a few years ago, and it has the letter A on it. This is the first time in 1994 to right now, I don't do math, but a long time since I changed my name. Yeah. It's the first time that she recognized it, ever.
Wow.
She bought a mug with the letter A on it. And that was like huge. And she asked me finally, why did you change your name? And I didn't tell her everything because I want to protect her feelings still, even though she's, whatever, it doesn't matter. So I just said, I just liked it better, or, better represented who I am. I don't know. I didn't tell her it was the last thing I wanted to do is be called your name. Mm-hmm. But that part was true. But, neither one of my parents ever asked me, why did you change your name?
Wow.
They just let it go. Typically they called me Sissy. So there really wasn't a need to write Alexis anywhere. But still, it was still like 2 or 3 years ago that it finally came up.
Wow.
And I admire that she went to the dollar store and found a mug with the letter A on it. And it was a Christmas present. And she said, this was the last one. And I was like, thank you, Mom. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. As much as I don't have a relationship with her, that mug is worth $1 million to me.
Of course.
It really,
but what's interesting is the Alexander the Great part of that. So there's a lot that you can tap into just from me talking very briefly with this namology woman that I met, who is going to be on the show soon. and tell it, you can, so by doing this, you tapped into another part of you. Probably, I'm thinking your higher self knew, even though you were in that spot where it wasn't comfortable, that this was the right move for you. And by doing this, it doesn't matter what other people say, you just have to move forward. And that was what would change your life, because there is a lot to the background of names. I do not profess to know all this, but now mine is, I'm part of Julius Caesar, right? Julius. Don't know really what that means, except for, I don't know if that's conqueror, or hopefully it's more healer, helper. I'm not sure, but whatever. But Alexander the Great is very well known for going out, talking with people, being very gregarious, and doing some great things, right? I mean, he was like the #1 dude that went out and made the empire amazing. And that's what you do. You reach out to people with, promotional help, you do marketing, and you come up with, everyone, so if you don't know, she comes up with things really, really fast. So if I say, I need a name for my business, she'll be like, in 2 seconds, she'll DM you 20 times and she'll have like 25 names for you, which is a good thing. No, that's a good thing, because for someone like me, sometimes it takes me a little while to get the name. I'm thinking about it. And then I've got one name and she's got 25. And I'm like, damn, how'd she do that? That's not fair. So she comes up with stuff. So I think that's so interesting that you did that, maybe unconsciously to consciously, and then you've had that ever since. Yes. And it seems like your life has transformed since you changed your name, slowly but surely, right?
Yeah, I have grown into it like a big pair of shoes, and become a ray of light. Cool. It is what I wanted to be.
It is what you are.
I wanted to be was just, the energy vampire that sucked the life and air out of a room. That was me. I was an argumentative, miserable, terribly depressed person. So this turnaround, this reinvention is freaking amazing.
It's awesome.
And so thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Seriously. That's amazing. That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I really do. Thank you for recognizing it. What I love now is the shortcut version, because it shouldn't take the rest of your life to make it the best of your life.
Yes.
So
that's what we're both here for. We want to help you guys.
Yes.
Take all the crap that you've done, or that you feel that you're stuck and it's too late for you, and say, BS on that. Yes. No way. We are going to move you into something better. And that's exactly what Alexis does. She has all the tools. And we were talking, it's like, we don't need to practice this stuff because we know the landscape really well.
We do.
Fortunately for you, all the listeners and people watching, because that's what you do. That's what you do.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, on to the next, because I have a quick question on this.
Okay.
What she says is, her tagline is, you need to have an angle if you want an edge. What does that mean? And this is for all of you entrepreneurs who either are starting a business, thinking of starting a business, maybe plateaued out, or maybe you feel stuck and you don't know maybe what's wrong and you're not bringing in the kind of clients that you want, or you never even developed maybe a tagline or an edge, if you will. So what does that mean, and how can they do that?
Awesome. Thanks. It's a great question. My company is called Promotional Angles, because you do need to have an angle if you want to have an edge. And if you think about it, again, I told you I'm left and right brain, right? So if you look at it literally, you need to have an angle if you want to have any kind of edge. Otherwise, it's a flat line.
True. Yeah.
I mean, just the logistics behind that made sense to me. And as far as the promotional products that I do, yeah, you can get pens and mugs and stuff, but when you come to me, you're going to get ridiculous things that nobody's seen before. You won't even know to keyword search for. And because I love inventions, and I can tie it in. You know that already, Julie.
Yes.
I could tie in, create a tagline, a headline, some content. Let's go. Give me a hard one. Yep. Like next, because it's a gift. I'm not taking credit for it, but this edge that I'm talking about is your way of standing up and out with your brand, like stand out with your brand standing. It's not grandstanding, guys. Grandstanding is almost coming across arrogant and a bit too much, used car salesman-ish.
Yes.
What you wanted, your angle, if you're in a room full of agents, let's say it's insurance or real estate or whatever, what's going to be different about what you do? The answer is you. The you that is you is the angle that you have. And so what I do is I as a third party, and you know this, Julie, when we stand on the outside, we can look inside and we can see way more than you guys do in the middle.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. And so
because you're so close to it. That's why.
that's all it is. It's a
That's all.
forest and the trees kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So it always helps to have somebody from the outside to take a look at what you're doing, why it's different, how it can stand out, and how you can make an impression on someone when you sidle up next to them at that network meeting instead of in front of them and look at their name badge and do all that stupid routine stuff. I know.
I hate that.
Do that. And so what I do, Julie, and this is what I share with some of my clients is, so what you want to do is sidle up next to that person on side by side and kind of peer over your shoulder and go, so aside from the free beer, why are you here?
There you go.
And break it down with humor, because that really gives you an angle right there, right?
Yes.
Right. You just go right in. Or you say, hey, I'm new in town and I've been looking for places to volunteer. Anything but the usual is going to make you stand out.
Yes.
And it gives you an angle. Now, when it comes to promotional products and not networking, but promotional products themselves, what you want to do is find something, well, ask me, I'll help you.
Just ask her, call her.
It's so much fun too. It really is. I represent 4,000 suppliers, and if they don't have something, I'm going to write it on a napkin and get it produced for you.
There you go. There you go. Yep.
Yeah. So your angle really is that thing that separates you, differentiates you. And it comes out in your messaging. It comes out in the way you put a tagline or even a subject line. I know how to get emails open.
Yeah, that's huge.
It really is huge. And I'm not talking about looking up somebody's course and saying, did you know, or have you signed up for? No. There's other ways around it. And if you really want to stand out, your brand is who you are. So let's find out what your personality style is. And that way you can attract the people that are you. Mm-hmm. So, right? That they get you. Yep. And that I just had a woman tell me this morning, I've been told I need to make my LinkedIn profile more businessy. And I'm just not salesy. And I said, please don't change it. Please just be you.
Yeah.
Because people that want to work with you will resonate with who you are, not who you're pretending to be.
That's right. So, let's stop. So let's stop there really quick, because this is what a lot of people, including myself before, got into. So this is something that a lot of people, there's so much information out there. We're all trying our hardest and everybody's thinking, okay, well, she's successful at working for her. Why doesn't it work for me? Let me try. And you change your profile on Facebook, you change your profile on LinkedIn, you change your messaging, even though it's not you. Standing in your power and being who you are is probably the most important thing you can do, not only for your business, but for your life. And I know it's scary and I know it can take baby steps, but it's something that is critical for you being successful, because if you can't go out there and be who you are, nobody will see who you really are. So if I just saw your profile on LinkedIn, Alexis, and it was more, you're just a marketing company, you do promotions and nothing really special, why would I want to work with you or click on you? Right. So you need to stand in your power and be fully who you are. And that's what you help them do, right? You take that essence of who they are and then give that to the world. Yes. And I want to add something to that, because if there's an underlying belief system going on that says, if I'm myself, somebody's going to, throw Chinese stars at me when I show up, if I'm myself, I will fill in the blank. There's belief systems that we have to be aware of. Yes. Through that kind of awareness, like I started this out with a piece of paper that said, I believe at the top. And I wrote for months, every single thought I ever had. And that belief system inventory was vital to unearthing and dislodging and replacing with beliefs that now serve better. So if a person, I do this with my clients, I really want to assess where you're at, because it's as much of a technique application as it is an emotional assessment and a psychological awareness of where your head's really at. If you unearth a belief that money is evil and you have to sell your soul to make money, you're not going to make it. And I found that about myself. I did. Well, especially with a lot of spiritual, conscious folks who are afraid to use their gifts. They're number one, usually afraid to stand out because they're afraid they're going to get killed. That's what I thought. Yes. And also that they are afraid that being spiritual equals you shouldn't have money. But yet, if you don't have revenue coming into your business, you can't help other people. You can't help yourself. You can't help your family, and you can't help anyone else. So that's a great tip, by the way, to do that. Even if you just did it for a week and a month, just write down everything that's coming up for you. Because everyone, a lot of times, what you don't know, what Alexis knows, is that it's unconscious, right? We all have a ticker tape running through our mind of all this junk. Yeah. And that's the only way to get it out. That's a great tip. I love that.
Thank you. It really, really worked for me to unearth things like all businessmen are spiritually shallow. That came from watching my father, who had, and you have to sell your soul to make a buck.
Yes.
I was damned if I do and damned if I don't. My mother was miserable as an employee. My father was miserable as an entrepreneur. What the hell? I was, what are my options? I don't know. Get married, be supported.
No.
I mean, come on. Yeah. Like being employed or self-employed didn't work,
Wow.
So these assumptions, these messages, and we get all these messages from age 7 under. All of those things are instilled in us.
Yes.
And then we operate from 5% conscious, 95% subconscious.
Yes.
And so to write it out, it gets it out, let it out, and then you can deal with it. Otherwise, it's just going to run you.
And, I have to tell you, back 5-7 years ago, I didn't realize that I had I didn't even know what a block was. I didn't know. That's how in my own head I was. I didn't realize, there's a really great book out called The Bug-Free Mind. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It changed my life. And it just brought up all of these, all of these thoughts that you have around money, around yourself. The whole thing, like money doesn't grow on trees, means that you're operating from a scarcity mindset. You're not abundant.
Right.
There's never enough. Right. And so there's many of those, obviously, but the tool that you just dropped, the bomb, I love that. I think that's amazing, because that's something that's free. Somebody can use it. And then of course you could go to Alexis and she can help you with what to replace it with, because once you are self-aware, and you realize that maybe it's not safe for me to be who I really am, then you want to put that, well, how do I replace that with something different and better? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for your support of that idea. Just last week, Julie, I realized that from when I was very young and really bad messages, that when if I had a wishing ring, I always wished that I could disappear and be invisible.
Yep.
My brother would wish for another wishing ring, and I'm like, you can't do that. That's not fair. Make a wish. And he's like, I want a wishing ring. He wants to be invisible. And last week I realized how much that was running my world. And here I am. I'm going to be 56 and I don't know, really soon.
Wow. Good for you. You look good, girl.
Thank you.
You look good.
Lighted and delighted, eh? Joy exudes, and it takes away wrinkles if they don't look too closely. But that particular thing, because if you think about it, if we feel like the need to be invisible, it's because the world was threatening at some point for you shining your light.
Yes.
It wasn't too long ago when I was at a networking meeting, and we were tackling a topic, and it was about being intimidating. And I said, I put that air on back in the day so that people would leave me alone.
Me too.
I adopted a walk.
Yep.
I wore men's clothes. I didn't want to have any attention at all. And the walk was so bad that I was accused of being butch, very butch. But it kept the guys away. And then when I became more and more secure in myself, I took that away on purpose. I took that away. And so I was sharing with the group that nobody else raised their hand when the leader said, is it possible that, to change that about a person? And I was like, yeah.
Yes.
And I raised my hand and I shared this thing. Guess what happened?
Everybody else said they had barriers too?
Nope. A woman who I'd spent a bunch of time with chimed in as if she were the 40-woman spokesperson, and she said, well, all that may be true, but your extreme beauty is still so intimidating, and we all feel that way. What do you even say to that?
I don't know. What can I say to that?
It was not a compliment. It was not a joke. It was a jab. And I came home and I vowed I'm never going to go back to that group. I felt horrible. The leader at one point said, oh, you're just a devil may care. You've got this attitude. And I had to come home and look up devil may care. I'm like, okay, so this group of people is actually threatened by me.
Yeah.
And I am not tooting my own horn, I promise. But to take a stab like that, like I can't win for losing, can I?
No.
You know, I worked at trying to be pretty and pretty happy, and I've got my real ugly moments. In fact, I coined the word ogurely. Yeah, ogurely. I made it up. Urban Dictionary agrees. I am ogurely in the morning. Real. And I was like, damn, girl, you need to see that. You know, why are you picking on me?
I think that brings up a really good point, though. The point is that there are seasons in your life for teachers, for mentors, for people to come in and they will to help you. And sometimes you will get what you need and then you have to move on. Sometimes your learning curve will be much faster than someone else's. So something that was comfortable for you and was helping you before is now not helpful at all. And so you need to break that contact and move into another group because you're obviously going to your next level.
I appreciate that you saw it that way.
Right? Seriously.
I do. And you know, it's so hard, guys, to not take it personally because that was a very personal remark.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, well, it's just where that person's at. Well, that person aimed their freaking gun at me.
Yeah.
In front of everybody else. Unapologetically. The room fell quiet felt quiet like a stone.
It's nuts.
And it was awful and awkward. And that was the message I got. Oh, here you are, standing up, being bright, sharing your freaking heart on your sleeve about what it's been like for you. And she's going to say that?
Yeah.
I get it that's where she's at, but you know how hard it was to overcome that?
Yeah.
I have stayed in the house ever since, you know, like, fuck, I can't do anything without somebody taking a fucking shot.
Not true. It's okay. Not true.
No, and that's true. But what I've also written on my fridge, I'm looking at it, is a board that says whole new tribe, whole new crowd. That's part of my goals this year is a whole new crowd. So trailing back to what you just said, reason and season, you know, that we're done. You know, I don't need to do this anymore with you guys. There'll be others.
Yeah. And you have to know when it's time to move on and do something different because you've grown and you've learned all that you can. And that's okay. That's okay. And it's supposed to be that way. You're supposed to move, but everyone around you should be supportive of you. Sometimes people aren't, but in a perfect world, those people are supposed to help you, lift you up. You co-create with them. You do fun things with them. And then the world's a better place, right? That's what it's all about.
That's what it's always been about for me. And it's so easy to assume that the rest of the world is going to treat us the way we treat them. And believe me, guys, it doesn't come back to you from the same person. It almost never does. So if you want to, do an act of kindness, do it because your heart feels like you should and let it go.
Yes.
Never expect the same in return.
Yes.
Ever.
Yes.
Buddy.
You talked about in your bio, you were a chiropractic assistant and a practice manager. And in Australia, you were certified chiropractic assistant, and you grew the practice by $25,000 in 6 months. I would love to know how you did that.
Well, thanks for asking. The chiropractor that I worked for was an American that I knew back in Seattle. He knew my beliefs in the system of chiropractic. In fact, I went to college for it. I failed miserably, but that's another story. I'll admit it.
Got the basics.
Anyway, moving right along. What I did was I joined a networking group, and I vehemently spoke in favor of what I knew. And this is a particular kind of chiropractic that every chiropractor can go back and learn, and it's called chiropractic biophysics. And if they don't do it, it means that they just want to keep you as their patient forever. I'm just saying, it's the truth.
Yep.
CBP fixes everything. It literally restructures your body. Like scoliosis, S-curves, made straight. Like, talk about believing in something. That was what I did. I believed in this so much, it's not even funny.
Wow.
When you believe in something that much, people get enrolled with you.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? So I come to this town, and the Aussies, of course, other than being called a bloody Yang septic tank, which I got used to. That's what they do. They call us that. They love an American accent, that, and the vivaciousness and all of that. Combine that with my belief in what this chiropractor was doing, and the fact that I was now running front line because they really didn't care for him, but my personality was, I would come from around the desk, sit down with the patient, and genuinely care about their well-being that day. Like, sometimes I cried with them. Like, I know what it's like to be in pain. And that, you can take that into your business right now. And you know, because part of marketing is, what are your clients' pain points?
Yes.
What are they really hurting about?
Yes.
And if you, and you're in the business you're in because you know what that's like and how it changes a person and how horrible it would be to continue with that pain.
Yeah.
And as much as he was just a Nimrod of a person and they hated him, he did good work. So I would kind of run buffer for this obnoxious little man that, and they would come back because I was there and really cared. It was personalized service, big time. Now in Australia, they have a healthcare system that makes it easier, much easier to sell a prepaid program. All you do is run a card, literally like a debit card. So they could charge a program of $2,500 in one fell swoop, and their insurance covered it. Unlike here, where you have to fight tooth and nail.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So admittedly, it wasn't just all my, I care about you so much and you're going to pay, $2,500 because of it. The system makes it easier. However, if there wasn't some sort of convincing, because he really was obnoxious, still is, the patients would have walked out.
It's all about the belief though, right? I think
really is.
Belief is the starting point, because anything that I've done, I have to believe in it. I have to believe in the product, or I have to believe in the service, or I have to believe in yourself.
Yes.
And you did that by stepping out. So from that belief system, you manifested a better work environment, I'm sure. I'm sure that was a byproduct. More revenue for him. How did that help you grow in your business when you came back and then had your own business? Did you take that with you?
That's a good question. Because that situation didn't end that well. What happened is I had to leave because he didn't do the paperwork right. And so I was forced to come back. So the life that I thought I was going to have there ended. And although I'm pretty accustomed to selling everything in a yard sale and buying a one-way ticket somewhere new, I had to have girlfriends do that day because my life was falling apart that I had planned on. I thought, finally, I have it figured out. Finally, I know where I'm going to stay. I love Australia. I love everybody here. I'm still friends with all my girlfriends there. And always will be.
Wow.
But yeah, no, it was devastating. And when I came back, I met somebody who had worked in the promotional products industry. He was trained by the guys who created the M&M's guys with the hands and the legs. Yeah. He was trained by the guys who were the very first ones to put a T-shirt in a can and put it in the Coke machine at the '96 Olympics. And then it was his idea to reconfigure the way you when you put the coupon back in, that you wanted a soda, you didn't want a T-shirt. I mean, thanks, but it was a promotion. Wow. So I work with creative geniuses, like Einstein in your pocket kind of feeling. And so everything that and I love inventions. So it was easy then to latch on to this because I've always been a marketing person. I was going to say a promo hoe, but
I was going to say guru, but same thing.
Promo hoe comes from working for big brands, Kellogg's, Coca-Cola, pretty much anybody that was calling that wanted some help. Okay, I'll do it.
Wow, those are big brands. Those are big brands.
Yeah.
Big brands.
Yeah. So it didn't matter who was calling. I'll do it.
Wow. That's awesome though, because you can take that experience and you can bring it to the entrepreneurs or the heart-centered folks that are doing the spiritual work, which is now what you do. You do the promotional, but you also do the spiritual part of it as well.
Very much so. Very much.
Talk to the listeners about how you blended that, because I think that's really cool.
Personal development equals professional advancement. Just plain and simple.
Yeah.
So what I've learned is that if we're carrying some kind of old anchor from something into our work environment, whether you're self-employed or working for somebody else, it's going to weigh you down, to use the analogy.
Yeah.
So the process is really twofold. I mean, I don't do a head examination on Lexis, when they call, like, yeah, okay, no worries. When I have an individual, like last week I met with a company and they're like, we really need to get referrals. I said, great. I have a proven system that's already worked for another company that does exactly what you do. Let's go.
Yep.
So yeah, they're working at it.
Perfect.
They have already demonstrated an open mind to it. What I have found though, is that a lot of people are so afraid to be noticed. Oh, people are going to think I'm bragging or, grandstanding.
Yes.
That's why I came up with the word brandstanding. Urban
Yes.
Dictionary. Yeah, it's in there.
Yes.
Just saying so there needs to be on my part some transformational moments of saying, okay, here's where it's kind of locked up, because I can give you something really spectacular, but if you're going to hand it out with a shaky hand going, that's not going to work.
Yes.
It's not going to work. So it ends up being
right. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
The energy won't be right.
Correct. So it's partly, invisible pom-poms. I carry them all the time. And cheerleading, yeah. I can't do a split, but I can wave some pom-poms.
I can, girl. We'll hook up. We'll do it all. There you go.
Flexible. I can put my palms on the ground, but that doesn't help my clients. So, flexibility is always good. Being able to find the angle that is their special and unique talent and service and product. And then I have this follow-up tool, this jumbo postcard that is a spin off of what I did to get Mark Victor Hansen's attention. And he then, because of that, called me the brand mother of self-marketing. Like from the best salesman in the world, like the best-selling book of all time.
That was genius, though, because she showed that to me, and it's pretty genius. So
thank you.
Simple. She has simple tools, right? So it's I think people overlook it sometimes, like, oh, that's so easy. Yeah. But you know what? It's implementation, right?
Yeah.
With the right energy.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, part of the transformation, Julie, is are you having fun at what you're doing? Because if you're not, that's going to show up too.
Yes.
So we need to find a way I love to leave your listeners with this. One thing, guys, every single day I ask this question: how can I have more fun today than I ever thought possible? And let it go, and it will work out. It will.
Cool. I love that. I love that.
Makes a difference.
Have you ever had to say no to anybody? Have you ever had a client, either individual or corporate, that you knew that you could give them all the right tools, but as you just said, they're not going to, it's not going to come out correctly because they're either so stuck in their minds or they're not fully ready to commit? Have you ever had, or if they haven't said no, have you ever had to walk them through kind of like baby steps, like this is how we can get you to open up? If they're closed-minded, I'm trying to ask that in a roundabout way, I guess.
What I find, so there's two parts to that. When it comes to like a coaching program, for instance, like helping people to hone their message and transform the results of that, people can be really scared of that. And I have learned not to pull burros up the hill.
Yeah.
It's not a gift unless the receiver wants it.
Right.
And so, it makes me tired and it pisses them off. So I don't pull burros up the hill anymore. It's like, you're either in or you're out. I'm not going to send you gazillion emails to try and convince you to be working with me.
Right.
Either or you don't. I'll be here. I'll be doing what I do.
Right.
But there's been a couple of clients in the promotional products industry that I just don't want to work with. And I didn't know that at first, but sometimes guys, we've all had this hunch that something's not going to go right here.
Yes.
And if you override it, inevitably that's the reason it falls down, because you already knew it was going to, and it wasn't your manifesting, it was your intuition telling you, don't. And so I've actually steered people somewhere else. I can kind of tell better now. Everybody thinks that they're a promotional products expert now because they can go to discount mugs or whatever.
Yeah.
Guys, there's so much stuff out there. If you want to be blended in with everybody else and offer the same sort of stuff, that's fine. Go ahead. But what I have also encountered is people that are not telling me that they're holding a catalog from one of my competitors and they're price shopping and idea shopping me. And we have spent money. I've spent so much money and creativity to come up with stuff for Fox Theater. They had a big club opening, came up with some killer ideas and all under budget, amazing stuff. And in the end, what it turned out is that they decided to go with some champagne flutes. And after I stopped yawning over this stupid idea, sorry, Fox, but that's boring. Because there's no way that those 500 members that are paying $3,000 a year, $3,000 to $20,000 a year to be part of that club are happy that the opening gala had champagne flutes. Somebody was behind all of that. And there's sometimes, guys, there's nothing you can do. There's not a damn thing you can do. It's just like, it's lost time and money. But there's, then there's the other ones. Like, and I had one of these clients come back to me not long ago, and she's like, so can you get us those t-shirts or whatever? And I said, can you tell me who I'm competing against? I mean, can we just handle that right now?
Yeah.
Because I don't want that. I mean, she dragged me through the mud last time. And she goes, well, I have this other catalog. They're cheaper. Thanks anyway. I was like, you know what? You could have told me that from the get-go.
Yeah.
Don't do that to somebody.
Yeah.
Please don't do that. God.
My sister is interior designer and she gets that as well. And it's very frustrating because you put your heart into it and you're trying your best and it's personal. It's not, branding is personal, completely personal. It's about the person. It's about the energy that they exude. It's not just about what they do. It's about who they are. And I think that people get nervous because even if you give them the perfect vehicle, it's them putting their heart and soul and their gift out there. And so if they don't feel safe or they get any sort of rejection, they take it uber personally, which I did. And we talked about that when we were together last and I was on your show. But I think manifestation is knowing when you need help, right? And where you need help and letting somebody like Alexis help you because she can do it from the 30,000 foot view. She knows what the hell's going on. She can see your blocks. She can help you and then give you some tools to help you get to where you want to go. Right?
Absolutely, honey.
Makes sense.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Julie. I really appreciate, God, gee, it's nice to be around people that get you.
I know, right?
Really though. I mean, it's so easy for somebody to go, oh, you do promotional products. I'm like, no, I do spectacular results. And some of it includes branded solutions like promotional products. And what's your point, sir?
Yes.
Yes. Come on.
It's a totally different animal.
It totally is. Yeah, it totally is.
So we're getting low on time. If you could leave the listeners with your number one tip on how to manifest anything that they want in their lives, what would it be? Because I know you have a lot of experience with this.
How much time do we have?
I got like 8 minutes, so you got time. You can go.
Okay. I want to share something with you guys. There's something going on right now. I'm going to call it, well, I'll tell you anyway. So there's this whole thing about manifesting, and then if you're not manifesting something, then your energy's off, and it's your fault. And I call that spiritual shaming, and I don't think it should be in place. I really, really don't. I think that if what you're called to do is up to you, and it speaks to you. So if you want to manifest something and it's not showing up yet, first of all, you might want to keep it to yourself a little bit more, or find people that are 100% supportive.
Yes.
Because there will be people around you going, well, it's just your energy, girl. It's your problem. No, it might actually take more time. Thank you. Go away.
Yes.
Don't let those people kick you in the shin, and don't kick yourself in the shin. Look, just because the law of attraction is out there or the secret or whatever, that doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you a really quick story, guys. And this I lost something. I didn't bring it on a cruise. It was a under eye concealer. I really needed it. It was freaking sunshine and photos, and I was just like, and I couldn't find it in the gift shop. I didn't find it in the ports in Mexico. I found a lot of Conchita dolls and a lot of sombreros. No under eye concealer. And so I let it go. I had to, right? I'm going through Mexico.
Yes.
About it. Well, here's this thing, and here's the point of that story is I followed a hunch. So if you want to talk about manifesting something, guys, stay focused on the what. The how will make itself known. Here's what happened. Really urged to take this booze cruise. Didn't make any sense at all, except that I wanted to drink. That would have been fun, but I did not want to do the snorkeling part. I was scared of the water. I almost died as a child in water. But anyway, I went on this thing, and it made no sense. But after we all did the cursory snorkel in the cove, and everybody's back on the boat doing the limbo and stuff, and I'm watching, this woman comes up, and she has something in her hand, and guess what it is? It's under eye concealer. She found it on the bottom of the ocean, came up to me and said, I found this on the bottom of the ocean. It looks like your color. I was like, Jesus, I must look like I really need it out of the 60 people here.
That's crazy. There's
no vision board. There was no manifesting. There was nothing, guys. Nothing. I was accepting the fact that I didn't have it. I knew I needed it. But how in the hell does that happen? There's a lot of things in life that can happen that way if you'll follow the hunch. If I hadn't followed the hunch to get on that catamaran that day for something I never felt like I would ever do again, it never could have happened. So that hunch is what I call the big yes. So follow your big yes. It will lead you. It can look crazy to other people, but it will work out. It's a manifesting process that you don't have to have vision boards and mantras and no, man. Cause you know what you want wants you even more than you want it.
Right.
So there's a draw and a call. There's a draw and a call.
Right.
So, it happens. It happens on its own, almost like magic. Cause that's
so important what you brought up, because it is the how that you have to let go of. And that's where everybody gets stuck, because they're trying to figure out how. Just focus on the what, as Alexis said, and you can be doing, inspired action that will move the needle. Maybe you don't know how you're going to get clients, but if you take the right actions, then it'll happen. But sometimes, as she was saying, other point, guys, is that big things take longer, right? So if you want to sell out your coaching practice, if you want, 20 new clients by, I don't know, July, depending on how large those clients are and how big the ticket items that you're selling, it can take longer, but you just have to believe that you're taking the right actions, and that it's going to come to you because it's already in the works, right? But you're just not going to see it until maybe later on, or maybe you'll get it all at once, but don't worry about how it's going to show up. But it is hard for humans to do that. I find that sometimes difficult, but sometimes you just have to let go and say, I let this go, and whatever happens, happens. I don't care how it shows up. Is that how you do it?
I want to comment on that real quick, because the Abraham Hicks stuff, I don't mean to gesture with my lighter. Yeah. The Abraham Hicks stuff is, I've summed it up as see it, say it, let it go. Well, I look at this desk over here and I've let it go and it's not getting done. I want that to clean up, but it won't do it on its own. Back in the day, I coined the phrase, name it, claim it, make it so. And that's more action oriented.
Yeah.
And I'm going back to that now, because you can't just sit here and hope it's going to work out. You literally have to go as you're guided.
Yes.
And then you can, manifestation. I mean, unless you're, a miracle worker and, really good at that, you can make a lot of money doing that. We all have to take action. We've got to take steps.
Yes.
And so name it, claim it, like own what you want, and then make it so. Now you can be the farmer and plant corn and you can't keep pulling up the sprouts going, are you growing? Are you growing? You kill it, doesn't work. Just trust that it is.
Yes.
It's kind of like life is like a restaurant. You just have to know what you want so you can order it. And when you do, you don't call the waiter back. The universal kitchen is assembling itself for your order.
Yes.
And it's all good. Like the waiter never said, do you know how to make that meal, ma'am? No, it's on the menu. I can have it.
Yes.
I'll figure it out.
Yes.
That's what you're talking about. Stay focused on the what, and the how makes itself known.
I love that. Well, I can't thank you enough for being here. So we're going to have all of your information. So where can people find you on the internet? Where can they reach you?
I am on, I have a website. It is thealexisray.com. I had to do that because somebody got my name first. There's a lot of Alexis Rays. Anyway, thealexisray.com.
Okay.
And also you could go to promotionalangles.com and you can see some of that. I don't sell online. It's just basically testimonials and stuff, but the Alexis Ray is a good spot to find me. And on Facebook, the Podcast Guest Club is a group. Yes. Guest
Very
Club.
cool group, you guys. I joined that group. It's amazing. Very cool group. Love it. I love it.
It's super supportive, and it's to help you make money without it costing you money. Like, how cool is that, being a podcast guest? I'm just saying.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I really love to do discovery calls, but I've decided I'm going to call them recovery calls, because people need to find themselves again. And I just go like a dog for a bone. I'll go, here you are.
There you go.
That part, huh?
There you go.
Can go to my website and you can, book some time with me. And there's testimonials there where people are like, oh my God, that half hour is crazy good. So yeah, that's my
genius. That's what she does.
Thank you. It's a gift.
It is a gift. It is a gift. Not everybody can do that.
I didn't do anything.
It's a very good gift to have. Not everybody can do that.
Yeah,
well, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We're going to have all of the links listed below. So if you want to go to the website, if you want to go to the Facebook group, the Facebook group is pretty cool. I got to tell you, because you've got a lot of people in there. There's a lot of guests. There's a lot of, it's very supportive. It's not,
That's right.
The word. It's not a downer. It's very uplifting. And it's like, oh my gosh, look what this person's doing. Oh, cool. What about this person? How can we help this person? It's
Yes.
very, very supportive. So I love that. So thank you for being here. I think you're amazing. I can't wait to get this out to the world. And I am very, very happy. So thank you, Alexis. Love you.
Sweetheart. I love you too. Boop.